You, in a world where you have many podcasts to listen to, are listening to the BlahCade Podcast. I am your host, Shut Your Trap, a.k.a. Chris Freebus. Joining me, as always, halfway across the world, Jared Morgan.
Hey there, Chris. How are things?
Things are thingy.
After President Apocalypse. Is America still existing? I don't know.
Yes, we are currently still existing. For how long, we do not know. I can tell you that the mood on set yesterday was very dour and sad, and basically everybody was hurling insults. So it was lovely.
Yeah. Well, that's a great time. That pretty much sums up what America's thinking at the moment. I think. We saw pictures of the volume of people at the Obama inauguration compared to the Trump inauguration.
Yes.
And I've got to say, like watching it on TV here, it looked like a funeral procession.
Oh, completely. Yep.
Yeah. I went, this is really somber. It's like someone's died.
And then you compare that to today, where there's been women's marches on various cities, and they have like 3 to 4 times the amount of people flooding cities.
Hilarious.
So,
I also saw on Twitter, just before I joined, I saw that apparently the president removed his first ever tweet on the POTUS account because he misspelled something. It's like, God, mate. Someone should be a ghostwriter for him.
On the top of a Twitter account, you can put a banner image.
Yep.
And the image that he posted was from inauguration with a whole bunch of people. Except for Obama's.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what else I saw? The cake that they used at the inauguration ceremony was the same cake that they used for Obama as well. But the person who actually made the cake said, "Yeah, I made the one for Obama. I didn't make this one." It was a direct copy too, and no recognition of the prior artist or anything. So totally copied the cake design without any credit to the cake designer.
Yeah.
Just welcome to how it's going to be for the next 4 years, guys. Have fun with that.
Yeah. I always say, after you get past the first couple of days of this kind of thing, by and large, we kind of forget who's president, you might say, except for when some major activity happens. So life goes back to day after day. And now part of that is because, hi, I'm a white male. So
no problems. You're right.
Yeah. But I completely feel and sympathize for everybody that is not.
Yes.
And that's the disturbing part, because there are some people that I've worked with that you can see the fear in their eyes. Even the women that are around me, you can sense the fear. It is troubling on that front. But like I said, hopefully, if you follow Patton Oswalt, who I have been, he's a comedian. He has a particular brand of snark that I think can get everybody through this. The best one was yesterday. One of the guys the head guy that runs one of these alt-right white power websites or whatever was on the news, and he was doing a live interview, and some guy came in and cold cocked him across the face. And so people were sitting there going, and Patton Oswalt was really going, yeah, that was awesome. And people were like, oh, how dare you? You're condoning violence. He goes, no, I don't normally condone violence unless it's punching a Nazi in the face. And so then for the next 24 hours.
That's where that tweet originated from.
Yes. So then for the next 24 hours, people have been posting, oh, I was watching this. And he's like, oh, what a great way to spend the day, unless you can punch a Nazi. So, I highly recommend.
I highly recommend following.
I highly recommend following Patton Oswalt, and his humor will get you through many of these situations, and also kind of make the blood boil too. But anyway,
that sounds good.
Yeah. What else is going on? Well, I will say this: California had an unusually heavy amount of rain yesterday.
Oh.
And my wife said that our street completely flooded up over the sidewalks. That's how much water was coming down the street.
That's a lot of water.
And then my neighbor posted a video. It was trash day yesterday, so trash cans were floating down the river. And so they were out in their Toyota FJ gathering trash cans before they went into the major street. And so just going up and down the streets of the neighborhood, because one of the streets that connects to me, if my street is a raging river, then it is an ocean, this other street, because basically 3 streets combine into this, like where all the water floods. It's just insane. And so
basically it's a drainage culvert.
Yeah. And so he had video of him, and he was just taking video while he was driving of just showing how much water there was. And as he was doing that, a tree fell on the video right in front of another car that was in front of him, and that car almost got squashed by the tree. Pretty one of those things where it's just like, wow, how did you capture that?
Movie.
I mean, it was great. And that footage wound up making the local news. So,
so it should have. That's pretty cool.
Meanwhile, up in at Mammoth Mountain, which is in northern California, it's about 5 hours from me. I've never been there personally myself, but it's the massive ski resort in California. They have the largest snowpack throughout the nation. There was a picture of somebody standing up on top of a sign that under normal circumstances is 18 feet tall.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, the snowpack is literally, I think after this storm, 20 feet deep.
So we were talking about that last week, I think, on the podcast, and that would pretty much mean that you could just like walk and just hold onto the ski lifts and pretty much walk up the mountain being dragged by a ski lift. Yeah,
they were saying that they were having to dig out the ski lifts.
That's pretty great. Well, that's really good, because then that will result in water when it melts.
Somebody was telling me that it's very familiar with the mountain, that they said it'll probably wind up having snow all year round until the next snowfall. Not that it's skiable, but the top of the mountain will probably keep its snow the entire year.
Whereas this year it didn't do that, right? Like it was dry on the top.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's good news for you guys. That's
right.
Really
so
good news.
Apocalyptic weather and apocalyptic politics.
Yeah, sounds like the script of 2012.
Yeah. So now that we've alienated half our audience,
I did the bad half.
I should go the rest of the way and talk to you about the Leah Remini show about Scientology. It's quite fascinating.
Backroom that one for sure.
Hey, I mentioned last week that I was playing a table that had the exact same layout as El Dorado.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to find out what the actual name of that was. The table I was playing was Solar City. And I guess the difference between it and El Dorado is Solar City is a 2-player, or can have 2 players playing it.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So back in the day, that was a feature where it was like, ooh, now you can have 2 players play at the same time, and look out, 4 players, woo! So
I remember the 4-player EMs are insanely complex in the back box, because they have to have about 2 extra subsystems that track player.
Yeah.
Status, and it's crazy to see what those look like in the back box, and underneath as well. So it's non-trivial to say back then. It's like to now, it's like, well, 4 players is nothing. We actually had 6 players on the Sega games, right? But back then it was like a really quite a big deal to have that many players in a machine. That sounds cool though.
Yeah, the other thing I after thinking about having played with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein for real, finally, I played a little bit of it in TPA just to see what the feel was, and I gotta say, I'm impressed with how Farsight managed that table. It very much felt like what I was playing in real life. Now, as is typical, I was able to score much higher in TPA. But in terms of the ball feel and where the ball was bouncing and kind of going, no, I think they did a really good job on that. That's kind of the problem with reviewing anything that Farsight does is if you've never touched the table or it's been a long time since you've touched the table, it's hard to give an accurate portrayal of what they've done. So I'm always curious when I get a hold of machines that are either long since passed in my memory, or I didn't really have a chance to play at all to see where they fall.
I haven't played Mary Shelling's thingy ever since it was in the arcades. So that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So
it's still hideously ugly, but
yeah, hideously ugly and has annoying call outs. But you know, it's all right. It's a Sega. It's all right. Yeah.
Okay, so I teased a tweet that we have some news to announce, Jared.
Yes, we do.
Can I go ahead and announce it?
I'll stop you if we're getting off what we can and can't announce.
Okay. So here's the deal, gang. You've heard us mention Arcuda, which is they're making a cabinet that will be able to play Farsight games now officially.
Yes.
Well, we have been in talks with Arcuda, and we have now gotten how shall we call it, an official relationship with them.
Yes.
And with that official relationship, we are giving access and certain knowledge, such as with their cabinet, you cannot believe. Okay, so we saw this thing where if you push, you can stop me anytime.
Oh, hang on a second. Hang on. That sounds nice, but I don't know if we can talk about that just yet.
Oh, I can't talk about. Okay, fine. What about some of the game companies that are going to be attached to this? So, for starters,
no, I'm going to have to stop you there. Can't really talk about that either at this stage. Okay.
Well, some of the functions that are within this machine that I think a lot of people are going to be excited about because okay. For instance, what you're going to be able to do with it is you're going to be able to take off.
Hang on a second. I don't know if I don't know if we could talk about that either.
So what you're telling me is we have info, but we can't tell anybody about it.
Yeah, kind of. The NDA is rather specific about what we can and can't talk about, and it's quite a lot at this stage.
Let's talk about the NDA. So in the NDA, it specifically says
that we can't talk about much at the moment, which is fine. But there is some good news, I think, that we can.
Yeah, what's that?
And that is that as time progresses and the platform gets closer to release, Arcuda will be using us as a way to communicate those releases earlier than normal. So that will be something to keep an ear out for if you're interested in digital pinball and arcade happenings.
And I'll tell you what, some of the stuff that me and Jared have already been exposed to, it got us incredibly stoked and excited, and we were like, "Oh, I want to talk about it, but we can't talk about it." So, anyway,
want to talk about it, but we just can't. And trust us, when the time is right, Arcuda will give us the information that we can release for you guys, and it will be really cool. So, yeah, keep an ear out.
All right, let's move on to something that we can talk about. There was a posting in the thread for our last podcast. User by the name of, I want to say it's Gorgeous or George's 32.
George's 32, I think it is. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, he issued us a challenge. And that was because of my known hate, and Jared, to a large extent, also has a similar hate of all things Gottlieb Premiere. The challenge was, how about saying one or two nice things about each Gottlieb Premiere?
Yeah, this is a challenge that I am happy to accept.
I'm not sure that I'm happy to, but I'll do my best.
I think for me, you should be able to smell my brain trying to tick over about the things I like to say about Gottlieb Premiere. But look, he did only say one or two things, so I think we can probably manage that. For example, you know, these machines have balls in them, and that makes them pinball machines. So that's
there are balls and flippers. Hooray!
That's right. Okay, well, shall we stick down the list?
They typically didn't cost more than a quarter. Hooray!
Hooray! They were good. Yeah. Now, I think his question is about the machines that are in TPA. I don't think he actually means that how they're implemented in TPA. It's just what machines are in the game, and generally speaking, both in real life and in the game, some positive things about them. So we can probably find one or two things about them that are positive.
Let's start off. We're just going to go down the list alphabetically. So let's start off with Bone Busters. What's something nice that we can say about Bone Busters?
Do you want me to start?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I think, do we have to actually, before we go on, do we have to actually make it one nice thing each, or can we just agree on the nice thing?
Oh, if we can agree, we'll agree. But if we both have something nice to say, then go for it.
Okay. So I'm going to talk from a mechanical perspective here on Bone Busters, right? So on Bone Busters, on the left-hand side, there is a pop bumper that's sort of sitting out nowhere, right? Well, they have, to allow the balls to pass behind that pop bumper without it triggering, they've modified it so the skirt is pretty much a half skirt. And that is, I don't think I've seen another pop bumper like that in any other game. So that is a nice thing about Bone Busters.
A nice thing about Bone Busters, if you were missing pink in your tables, Bone Busters has pink.
Excellent. This is a great start. I think we're doing well. Okay, what's the next one that we? That's enough of that, by the way. One will be enough for Bone Busters.
Yes. Class of 1812. Here, I'll start with this one.
Okay, you go. Yep.
If you are a fan of songs featuring chickens, Class of 1812 is the table for you.
That's a fair call. There is quite a bit of chicken action in this. So yes, that's a valid thing for Class of 1812. So for me, I think I think it captures a moment in time, not 1812, but about 1980. With the specific voice acting and rapping that is going on with the game.
Well, I think we can go a little bit deeper than 80, maybe 83, 84, somewhere 80s. Around there.
Let's call it mid-80s. Mid-80s, and it shows at the time the understanding that Gottlieb Premiere executives had of the rap industry.
Like it existed?
Yes, yes, exactly. So they wanted to capture that market by including awesome rap in the game, and therefore they wanted to make it so these stiffs and spooks would actually rap. So look, there's rap tracks in this game. If you are really gagging for a game with some 1985 pinball rap in it, then 1812 is yours. You got to go for it. It's the best.
Okay.
Of that year.
Let's go to Cue Ball Wizard.
Okay. Do you want to go, or should I go?
I think it's your turn to go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So with this one, I actually quite like the way they have integrated the big cue ball into multi-ball and how to score jackpots. Normally you would just, shoot a ramp or whatever, but this one you have to not only hit the cue ball with a little steel ball and do it in such a way that it hits the right targets, and then wait for the cue ball to actually shoot the ball up into the target. So there is a fair bit of strategy there. But it's a big draw card to the game when you're looking at it, because I don't think, again, Gottlieb Premiere, sometimes the innovators, and there's no other game that I know of with a big cue ball in the middle of it like that. The only thing that comes close is Circus Voltaire with its ringmaster, or its ring ball captive. So
yes, I will certainly agree that when walking by one in an arcade and you saw that, it made you go, oh, yeah. Let me take a better look. So it visually had a nice draw card for it. Yes. I will say, if you are a fan of drop targets, There's a lot of drop targets on the table.
Yes.
I don't think it's... Nope, I'm not going to say negative things. There are a lot of drop targets on the table.
Yes, there are many drop targets, and they're arranged in such a way that you can actually bank them all in one go, which is kind of pretty cool. I've never done it, but you can do a clean shot, which is cool. Like they've obviously thought of the geometry of those targets, so you can do that, which shows they put a bit of care into that game.
Okay, let's have a crack at Big Hurt.
Oh, okay, it's your turn.
It is my turn. Okay, Big Hurt. I will say that I think the moving mitt is a fun idea, just as the moving goalie on World Cup Soccer is a fun idea. And it's something that's been used on many tables. But I like that they used it not only as a block feature, but also sometimes you actually want to hit it. So they integrated two different ideas into one and implemented that nicely.
Yeah, I agree. The glove was one of my highlights of this game too. And if you are playing on a machine that's very well maintained and it has strong flippers and it's set at the right pitch, that glove really does interact well with the ball when it like shoots it back down at the flippers. It actually makes the game a little bit tricky. So that's a good feature. The other thing I like about that game is the fact that in that same area, you get the Grand Slam ramp just popping out of nowhere, which if you've seen it for the first time, it's a pretty cool feature. And you're going to go, oh, I've got to shoot this extra ramp that's popped out. So that's pretty good. I actually quite like Big Hurt out of all the Gottlieb Premieres in the game.
Yeah, I will say it's not terrible.
No, it's actually quite good. Okay, Gladiators.
Okay, moving on. Let's go with the most recent Gottlieb Premiere that's been put onto TPA, and that is Gladiators.
There's two things I like about this game. That from a historical
good. I don't have to come up with any.
No, you have to think of one. No, I like the fact that from a historical perspective, this game has one of the most checkered paths I think I've seen in any pinball machine. As far it's actually, it started off as one theme, then they had to can that theme and go to another one, and then it's now Gladiators. So Gottlieb Premiere's ability to roll with the punches on this one is certainly demonstrated, I think. The other thing that is quite good on this game, although not really shown very well in TPA, is this thing has one of the most violent shaker motors on any pinball machine that I've played. It's so violent that if there are coins in the cash box, it makes this such a terrible, terrible racket that you cannot help but notice it in the arcade. Like it's going, what is jackhammering in the corner, in the pinball corner? Oh, okay, it's this game. So that's a draw card for Gladiators in the arcade.
Okay. I will say that the moving crane arm, if you will, or habit trail, any kind of thing, any kind of table that does that, where there's a moving piece that the ball travels on, again, has visual appeal to me, and I can't help but want to shoot the ball and watch the ball go down it. So, hooray! Yeah,
that's good. Moving on.
Moving on. Oh God.
Going nuts. So, this was your turn to go first, Chris. Unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. Something nice about going on. Okay. Here we go. Good on them for trying something different, which is not having an outlane for draining. That it's just merely you and your flippers trying to keep the balls in play.
Yeah, that's a fair call. And for me, I think let's call it unique layout of the playfield, and the way that there are actually quite a few drop targets positioned on this table, and there is a challenge to actually hitting those drop targets in this game. It's not as easy as perhaps other games because of the way they're spread out and the geometry of the table. So that adds a challenge. If you want to have a drop target challenge, then Going Nuts is a good one to go for there. Not to mention the fact that, it's multi-ball all the time in it as well. And it's timed, which is, definitely a different take on pinball.
I'm holding my mouth. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go forward. Oh, good. It's your turn. Lights, camera, action.
Again, a lovely homage to the 80s in this particular game. I think the thing, there's a few, well, I'll go with one thing because I want to save one for you just in case. And if you don't mention it, I'll mention it afterwards. But I think in real life, I think the shot from the upper left flipper into the millions loop would be incredibly satisfying in a game, in a real life game. Like if you really got in there and spun that ball around that loop lots and lots of times, it would be really cool. It doesn't really translate so well on Android. The implementation that Farsight done, there seems to be some sort of weird collision issue inside that loop, and I'm flat out getting one loop around it most times. So it's sort of, it makes it a little bit less satisfying to play in TPA. But in real life, I'd imagine I'd be doing that shot all the time.
I'm struggling here, but I'm going to succeed. I know I'm going to succeed. Let's see.
You can overcome.
On the real table, on top of the back box, there are flashing lights. Ta-da!
So are you talking about the red and blue spotlights that actually change the color of the playfield?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, the other thing, cool story, bro. So the other thing that's a little bit unique about the lights, camera, action is the way that the eject, the vertical up kickers just throw the ball back onto the playfield without going down a ramp or sort of following an existing path. They just go, I'm just going to chuck it out. Blech.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, that's an interesting sort of thing because you go, well, where's this ball going to go? And then it just goes rocketing towards your flippers. So that sort of keeps you on your toes a bit.
Let's go on to Rescue 911.
Is it your turn to go first?
Nope, it's your turn.
Is it? Okay.
I think. Wait, did I do lights?
No,
oh, shoot! It is my turn.
I took the fall for lights, camera, action. You got to do it for Rescue 911.
Okay, Rescue 911, presumably based on the TV show of the same name. So the positive I have is that there is no William Shatner callouts.
That's quite true. I actually didn't realize that William Shatner did the voice for Rescue 911. So
yes, he was the host of Rescue 911 and would narrate the various stories that they told each episode.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's probably is a plus actually. So
because otherwise you'd have to hear that you have earned an extra ball. Wait to go.
That's yeah. That would be hard to
helicopter. Take. There are people in dire need of your help. Now, go.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that would actually make that game amazingly good. I think if he did the voice in that way, I would love to play that game with him narrating like that. All the missions, I would totally be into it.
Plunge.
The
ball.
So dear, someone needs to put in a sound, like one of those soundboards into it,
right?
And totally do get someone to do that. That would be fantastic. Such a good mod. Anyhow, for me in real life, this game has a feature like the live saved feature, and it's kind of cool to walk up to one in real life and see how many virtual pinball lives you've saved on that particular machine. Of course, until it's factory reset when everyone dies, and it goes back to zero. But while it hasn't been factory, that's right. How would William Shatner say that?
You murderer, gone. Oh.
So yeah, that's Rescue 911. Live saved.
Live saves. Okay. That means this is you. TX sector.
TX. I think the thing I think makes this table unique is the warping balls feature. Over to you, Chris.
Am I mistaken in that this had a mirrored back glass, a kind of an infinity back glass?
Yes, I think it did have an infinity glass, yep.
All right, infinity glasses or back glasses are always cool.
Yep, they are. Okay, moving on. Yeah. Teed off. This is me. This is you.
No, this is me. Teed off. Okay. I don't think teed off is another one that's not terrible. I think it suffers in comparison to No Good Gophers, but teed off did come out before No Good Gophers.
Yes,
and I will say that I appreciate Gottlieb's attempt at making a cartoon table, if you will. Capturing the spirit of a cartoon.
Yeah.
Sound effects, call outs, that kind of thing.
Yep, that's a fair observation. I think from a features perspective, do you have a feature in particular that you like on the game?
The thing that attracts you is the spinning roulette wheel underneath, but once you play it, you realize that it's nothing but a gimmick that proves annoying. So from a features perspective, okay, the upper left flipper that you shoot the volcano, I believe, with, or not the volcano, the hole-in-one.
Yep, the jump ramp.
Yep. Jump ramp. Yeah, that's actually kind of fun when you're able to hit it, and definitely feels satisfying. It's an odd angle for a flipper to be at. So.
Yeah, that's true. And if the ball comes through that lane with a running start, it's quite a tricky shot to get right. There's also, I think, some big scoring targets around that area that also are quite difficult to hit on a running shot. So yeah, you get a bit of challenge in that area of that game. So for me, I think I actually don't mind the wheel in this game. I think it's okay. The physics in TPA don't really let it be variable enough. But in real life, you can actually get the double mode pretty easily. And to trigger the wheel, just shooting the center vertical up kicker behind the drop targets is pretty easy to do. So that's a good little exploit in the game. The other thing I like about this is it's kind of trying to be a Caddyshack pinball without really trying to be a Caddyshack pinball, in a way.
Well, no, you're absolutely correct, and it's the exact same thing that No Good Gophers went for also.
Yeah.
Just to a better end.
I think, yeah, they capture it better in No Good Gophers. I think Gottlieb did a okay job for the first cab off the rank with that theme. So there you go. For a first attempt at a golf themed pinball, which I really don't think there's a lot of at all out there, they were first off the bat and they did an okay job at it.
That brings up something that we'll bring up after we talk about this last table, because I think there's an interesting question to be asked. So let's spin back around to that, and after we talk about our last table of Gottlieb Premieres that are in the Pinball Arcade, and that is Victory.
Victory.
You go first.
Okay, I will go first on this one. The thing I like about Victory is once you learn the shots, you can just do them over and over again, and the goal is very clearly defined in the game. You got to win the race by shooting the shots, and that's kind of refreshing in a pinball machine. If you just want to go, I just want to focus on my shots and flip some balls around. It's good.
I will say Victory has that just one more game aspect to it. It's a table that I don't like, but I somehow like it while playing it, if you will. It's like once I start playing it, I can't stop playing it. And it is because it takes me a few go rounds to go like, oh yeah, that's where that particular goal is. It's 1 through 7 are the goals. or the checkpoints, I should say. Yeah, and once you figure out the 1 through 7, it becomes this thing of, well, how quickly can I run through 1 through 7? And
That's right.
Am I able to do it without pausing, and catching the ball? Or because the way it's designed, you actually can go rat-a-tat-tat through them.
Yeah, do it on the fly.
In a flow manner. So that's what I appreciate about it, that it has that, that just one more time aspect to it.
Yeah, it does have that. Yeah, I agree. I find it quite fun. If I actually sit down in front of it and play it, it's good, and the scores are satisfying as well. I think the scoring is well balanced in the game. Like if you get 20 million in that game, you really feel like you've got a good run at the game.
You know what's funny? George is 32, you bastard.
Yeah, but challenge accepted.
Challenge complete.
Challenge completed. Where's a wizard goal for that?
Bing!
Yeah.
You know what's funny is, so Victory and TX Sector and Life's Camera Action, they all have that alphanumeric display.
Yes.
And when you see it in real life, it's tiny. I mean, like obnoxiously tiny.
It's even smaller than the Belly Williams ones.
God,
they're small.
And not only that, but the coloring on it, it always made me feel like I was playing on a pocket calculator.
Yes, absolutely.
Like an old Texas Instrument pocket scientific calculator that had the LED or LCD display, I should say. And even when playing in TPA, where the size of the alphanumeric is the same size as you would find on a Bally Williams table.
Because they've scaled it up.
Yeah, they scaled it up. I can't get it out of my head. And I always just, even in TPA, I'm like, stupid small display.
Yeah, true. It's they are really small. And I don't know why they went with that particular type of gas plasma display. Because, probably it was cheaper because it was smaller. Yeah.
But it really is just, it's one of those weird quirks though that I just, like I said, if you've ever run across one in real life, you'll immediately understand what I'm talking about. Where you're like, why is it so tiny?
It's almost like they need to put it in the playfield itself or on the apron so you can actually see it.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so you said there's not that many golf themed pinball tables.
Yeah.
And yet there's a thing called Pin Golf.
That's right.
So wouldn't it be interesting to actually design a table specifically around the idea of having it be Pin Golf?
Yeah. Have lots of, the ability to sort of, go for quite clear defined goals and progressions in the game. That would actually be a pretty cool thing to do. Yeah.
Or even if you have, with the modern tables, what if you built into, say all the modern Sterns, each table has one hole of Pin Golf, and then you can link all the tables together, and you would rotate from table to table, or maybe make it a mode where it's not necessarily a specific hole per table, but you program in, hey, I own 6 Stern tables, link them to Pin Golf. And then it does have you do one hole, and then you move to the next table, you do another hole, and then eventually you come back around to that table and do a different style of play on that. But make a course out of it. I think that'd be kind of
essentially interesting. Make a course. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? It would be It will be achievable because all these games are networked now.
Exactly. Especially, well, I was going to say, especially all the Jersey Jack tables are Wi-Fi connected.
I think all the Spike 2 systems actually have a Wi-Fi ability module. They have the ability for expansion to Wi-Fi if it's not already on the game. So putting on a network module and disconnecting it to the arcade's Wi-Fi, it wouldn't be bad at all. The interesting thing with that system, though, and I heard that those games, those driving games like what are they, Maximum Tune and all those sort of games in the arcade that have a linked leaderboard system, or global leaderboard, they actually require the operator to agree to a takings from the cash box each month. So they will take a certain amount of revenue per month from the operator to do it. And I think in some of the franchises, but I think Maximum Tune is one of them, that if you don't opt in to the leaderboarding system, you don't get to operate the game. So it's you must, if you're getting this game, you must connect it to our leaderboards and you must give us a rake.
So not only would you be, if you, the operator, didn't own the machine yourself, but you were, getting them from a distributor that has games on route, not only would you be forking over a share to the route or the router, but you'd also be forking over a share to the leaderboard.
No, you would actually. It would be, if it was a profit share scenario and you were getting the games off the operator would have to accommodate that cost in their commission scheme. So the money that they took from the cash box, they would have to, like, the percentages they get, they'd have to divvy it up to whoever it is, Namco or whoever does Maximum Tune. So
because I was going to say that would suck if you're the operator or the arcade owner, that you're basically twice paying out.
That would really suck. So I actually really do like the idea of having a leaderboard system, but it would be under the proviso that it doesn't gouge operators more than they're currently getting gouged out there, because it's not easy to be a family entertainment center operator anymore. So speaking of family entertainment places, well, this one's not so family. Next month, our pinball tournament will be moving to a brand new venue.
Yes,
and that venue is a place called Netherworld Arcade in a suburb just outside the city called Fortitude Valley, and they've got 15 pinball machines there. Obviously, I'm a little bit excited about our league moving to there. Also, Fortitude Valley is about 2 suburbs away from where I work at the moment. So
nice.
It's a lot easier than Greenslopes, which was about a 20-minute drive or 15-minute drive away.
Okay.
So very happy about that. That's going to be so good.
Pregnant pause.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of if I had anything to add to that, and I didn't.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Oh, I know what I was thinking about. Last week, you and I both said that we were taking the kids to a movie. Did you happen to go see Sing?
I did go and see Sing.
And did you like it?
It was okay. I think it started too slowly at the beginning, but it's like the last third, when things really started to kick along, it was okay. It was quite good.
I was rolling my eyes at the idea, the very premise in terms of it being a singing competition, and they show the audition process, and the premise, folks, because I know you care so much, is that this guy is trying to save his theater and have a successful show, and so in order to do that, he decides to host a singing competition, figuring somehow that this is going to fill the theater over and over again, except for the fact that unlike something like American Idol or America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent or whatever talent show you have near you, it seemed like it was a one-off show that he was going to be putting on, because he only winds up selecting like 6 acts, like eliminating hundreds and hundreds of people right off the bat.
The entire city, basically.
Yeah. And so I was kind of like, okay, I get it that, this is for the kids, and it's an hour and a half movie. They don't have time to go through various competition cycles and everything, but at a certain point the competition gets called off, and instead they just have the people singing. And so that once it hit that moment, I went, okay, that's better, because now I don't have to root for anybody. I can just enjoy them doing their song at the end, which up until that point we never heard their entire song. We only heard little snippets. So
that's right. And they had really, really good singers in there who could belt out the tunes, and that was great to actually hear that. I think definitely the end was the highlight of the movie, which I guess in movies it should be. But I did actually decide to watch The Shallows last night on your recommendation, Chris.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So full of holes. So full of holes. Yeah, you're full of it. Totally full of it. It was so full of holes. So more holes in a leaky boat, that thing. Like, I love the fact that, I won't go into the plot. Basically, the plot's pretty easy. Girl tries to escape from a shark that's trying to kill her. That's pretty much the plot.
Yes.
And I love the fact that, there's some scenes where, she's on this island, and there's like, in the tent scenes, the swell just suddenly goes up to like 2.0 meters high, and then all the other scenes it's like a pond. I'm just going, I know
that's the difficulties of shooting on water.
Yes, but I'm just looking at going, yeah, okay. And the shark, the way they did the shark in the movie, I think that was okay. It did really like to eat metal though, didn't it? Like,
yes. It did have a fondness for metal.
It loved metal, and it must have the strongest. I reckon it must be like titanium teeth to be able to like do what it did to metal in that movie. So it was an interesting choice. But I got it really cheap, so whatever. Through Google Play, I got it for like I think 50% off, so I ended up paying like $1.99 for it. And it was worth that. It was worth that.
Yes, that's what I paid when I rented it for, $2 rental. So
I think you should, next time we do these things, you should actually record how much you paid for the movie. I think that would actually give a little bit more perspective. Because I don't know if I'd enjoy it.
I won't be spoiling anything in terms of saying that the shark gets disposed of. And yes. I happen to like the way that the shark was disposed of. I thought that was a creative death for a shark.
Yeah, it was definitely. I will agree with that. I was going, oh, that's an interesting.
Because let's face it, there's only so many ways you can kill a shark, and Jaws pretty much did all of them.
Yeah, pretty much. And this one does definitely give a different way of doing that as well. So,
and I also appreciated the shark was much more shark-like than, say, something of the nature of Deep Blue Sea, where the sharks were genetically enhanced and smart sharks and jumped out of the water and ate Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. Because he's delicious. That's why. Yeah, that's right. So why wouldn't you want to eat Samuel L. Jackson? Anyhow. Yeah, so that was the shark, the Sharknado. No, it wasn't quite Sharknado, but it was all right, I guess. But get it when it's cheap. Put it that way.
Tells me that Jared and I's movie taste, if we got right down to it, is not the same.
No, probably not the same.
Probably not the same. No. All right, hey folks, no back room for you this time because I shot my wad the last 2 weeks. So lucky you. And we're going to call it a podcast right now. Hey, we do thank you so much for listening to us. Why don't you go ahead and check out the show on Twitter? That is at BlahCade. You can also follow us individually. I am at Shut Your Traps. He is at Jared Morgs. Why don't you drop us an email, blahblahblahcade@gmail.com. You can put in requests for topics to be on the shows. You can do the same thing by commenting on the show thread in Pinball Arcade Fans. That's where we got today's topic from. You can also visit our website, which is BlahCadePinball.com. There you will find all of our past shows, as well as show notes, timings for certain features, as well as if there's any web addresses that we have mentioned. Jared a lot of times posts those, so you can do a quick and easy links to that.
Just like last week with the Bin Juice Drinking Gronk song. I should have put up a referral link on that to see how many times people clicked it.
There you go. There you go. All right. So until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.